Hey,
How are you?
I'm good. Trying to find a in my house.
Right. I've been yelling like, I'm about to get on. Be quiet. Go upstairs. Like,
I went upstairs. They're staying downstairs, so we'll see how this goes.
yeah. My Wi-Fi is wonky though, so that's the other issue is figuring that out.
Well, we gonna work it out together.
We will indeed.
Where are you?
And
You're in
Birmingham.
Birmingham. That's right. You did say that the other day.
And I forgot, where did you say?
Girl, all the way on the West Coast. Trying to get my life together. It's so early.
Is wow. Yeah.
It's not early now, but it was early when everything
Right.
started, and I was
Yes.
like, "Woo, yeah."
That's right. Have you watched any of the other sessions?
I saw the end of Tia Mowry,
Okay.
because that was like 9 o'clock here, and then I caught the DJ, which was amazing, and
Right.
then I was just watching Lisa Price and Latham and all of them talk about their birth experiences, which I resonated with because I just had a baby, so
That's
I was
right.
like, I'm here for this talk.
Yeah.
It was, whew. So, and now my phone's going off because everybody's texting. Try not to be distracted. Oh,
Yeah, I'm a bit removed from that birth experience because my youngest is 6, but I just remember being grateful that for my second and third pregnancies, I had a doctor that was on it. My first experience was a little, and actually I had a black OB-GYN, but it was stressful, and I was nervous, and I think they seemed to think that big deal about that. But I'm like, I'm a first time mom. I don't know anything about this, even though I'm a physician, but I've never had a baby before. And just, threatening to stick an IV in my baby if I couldn't get her nursing and like it was not positive at all.
yeah, that is so rough. My first one I had at 30, and then I had my second at 36, and then my last at 38. And in between my first and second, I went through heart failure.
Oh,
And so these last two pregnancies have just been scary and nerve wracking or whatever. And this last one, oh my gosh, so many things. Like, you want to talk about advocating? Like,
yeah.
I had to act crazy to get them to listen to me in the last couple weeks of my birth. I had too much amniotic fluid, and
Hmm.
my little baby was not happy, and I had to like fight for them to induce me.
That is insane. Like, I can't believe we're still having this conversation in 2021, you
I know.
know?
No, she was a month early, but 8 pounds.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So it would have been a nice little experience. Whew, but Dr. Marie is here.
So how do we you don't see her, do you?
I don't see her, no, but she just said that
I
she
see
is
the
here in
chat, yeah, the chat, but because I had to let you in. Let me see if I see. Oh, okay. I'll let her in. I'm not sure.
You
Ah,
got the
hey
hey
ladies,
sis,
how are
you
you
look
guys
beautiful.
doing? Thank you. I tried to do a little something, something.
Come on.
I love it.
You guys
All of
look good.
Thank you.
You guys have kids around?
not right now,
Not
but
for the couple of minutes. I mean, we see how long it takes.
I know. I'm telling mine like, do not bang on the door. Uh,
well, I was in the vendor booth and my son's like popping up, and I was just like, we just have to roll with
no,
it.
it is what it is. You know, I was. Did you guys watch the Tia? Watch Tia's portion. I was kind of it like eased my nerves a little bit when I saw what happened. I'm like, this is just what we do. Things happen and we work through it, and we're moms. We keep it pushing.
Well, I like the nurse at some point.
The nurse. It is what it is. So, like I said.
Oh.
I heard you guys talking about your birthing experiences. Yeah. That was, it's so common. I have a cousin who recently she was pregnant with her third child, and she ended up having a miscarriage and went into a coma because, it was pretty deep. Because she had an infection, they didn't know. And then once she went back, because she also had to get that extra stitch. I forgot what the name of the procedure is, where you get the extra stitch to hold the baby in.
That's a cerclage. That's what I had.
Yeah. So she had that. Apparently there was
Marie Lahai, Stepha is trying to get in, so you might need to let her in. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, it's fine.
But it looks like am I supposed to let everybody in?
It's like you got the power.
You got the juice, girl. I'm so glad we got on early because I was like, I'm not the best with tech.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I'm like, wait, I should just leave because I was listening to the main session. So I was I can leave.
You guys have such nice backgrounds.
This is literally just, I am. But listen. You probably have I live in Brooklyn. Like, you gotta make the space. Like, because then if you walk in, like I'm a loud and extra person anyway. So like in this little space, we're gonna make all of it work.
Yeah, you make it
right, because
what I'm saying. We make it work, and we keep it.
But everybody's looking beautiful. Okay, Black women.
Yes, everyone looks good. I'm so excited. That's my alarm. Oh, what's going on?
I might have the alarm actually. Check mine. The main session was so good.
It was so good. Everything has been, even the DJ.
Yeah, everything was good.
Oh my goodness, I was sweating, dancing.
I did a mini workout. I had to go take a shower after because I'm like, okay, let me get myself like pumped up because he's good.
He is good.
He was really good. Yeah. He was really good.
Who's in DC? Are any of y'all doing the actual event? I know, like I heard a couple weren't. Yeah, right.
No,
I'm going to the pop-up.
Oh, really?
There's the pop-up happy hour. There's one in New York City, so I'm going to go to that.
Oh, wow! They really planned really well.
Yeah. Well, who was saying? It wasn't Simona. It was Nikki was saying like, yeah, we did a lot.
Yeah, we did a lot. I'm so impressed. I've never done like virtual conference, and I feel so involved outside of like this session. I just feel like I'm there.
It's so well done.
Yes, very good.
We got to make it though to the West Coast for the West Coast baddie Black mamas that are doing their thing. Nobody ever comes to Seattle.
Oh, I was.
Okay, I was just like, tell us where to go. I was like, wait, this is what it's
where are we going? Because I can start right now.
I'm just coming.
I'm ready.
It's like the West Coast kind of gets left out of all the magic that happens in the South and on the East Coast. We're like, wait, but we're here too. Don't forget about us.
Yeah, I don't ever. I don't even think I could point out Seattle on the map.
Oh, Northwest. Ooh, girl, come on. We gonna send you a map.
I just know about the rain. That's it.
I know. So now we like really lean into that narrative because we don't want people to come here.
That's from Grey's Anatomy.
It's beautiful. I've heard it's so beautiful.
It's really beautiful. Actually, both of our families are from the East Coast, and like everybody's like, when are you moving back? Like DMV, South and North Carolina, Florida, and we're just like, it's hard to deal with the rain, but I've never been to a more beautiful place.
Oh, I love that. I'll visit there. Yeah, I'll put that on I'll put that on my list of things.
July through November.
Okay.
We don't come any other time.
Okay.
Noted. Thank you.
Noted.
Are folks in? Is that like they're seeing everything, right?
Are people? Yeah, it's like there's a few.
Oh.
Hi. Hey, y'all.
Hey, guys.
Oh, looks like, people are coming.
I saw Tiffany and Timberly. Hey. We have 17 people.
So you guys want to get started right away, or should we wait a little bit?
Well, wait, tell us where y'all from. Because I think it cuts off. Does it cut off or? Because I'm like, I don't want us to be talking, getting some.
I know.
Cut off.
We got a Houston.
Brittany's from Houston.
Pam.
Who's Houston, Brittany? Hey, oh yes, I see that Nigerian name.
Hi, Monique.
Houston is like
Hey,
Nigerian.
Dominique. I'm in Brooklyn. Are you coming out tonight? Come get a drink. I'm not even a drinker, so.
I want to get a Brooklyn right now.
You're just the recruiter. Recruit everybody to come and then just watch them.
Be like, yeah, I'm drinking my kombucha. I'll drink my kombucha.
Oh wow.
That'll work.
Let's see.
All right.
Okay, I think we have 20. I think, let's wait until about what, 30-ish?
We can do introduction, right? And then kind of get into the stuff.
Okay.
Huh.
So I'll go ahead and start, obviously. My name is Dr. Marie Lahai. I am the moderator for today's discussion on reviving. What are we reviving? Reclaiming our time. Reclaiming our time. And the really interesting thing is that I went to the first Momference in DC. I used to live in the area. Now I live in Houston. But it was at this conference that I truly realized and reclaimed my time. A little bit about my story is that I had a baby out of wedlock, which is like a huge no-no in my culture and in my, my spiritual beliefs. And it was very stressful. And then I had the baby, everything was okay, thankfully. But I felt like, okay, now that's it. Like I just graduated from grad school. I got pregnant, had a baby. Like, oh, I had all these plans. And now I probably am not going to be able to do any of them. So it wasn't until I went to the Momference that I started meeting women who were doing things. You see them online. But when I was there in person, I'm like, yes, like everyone, yes, like this is possible. I can do this. I can be a mother and have a life and still go after these goals and these dreams that I have. Like it is doable. So that's why the Momference is so special to me. And that's why I'm really excited to be here. And so now let's have, who wants to introduce themselves next? Dr. Ellis Cox, you want to go next?
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Marie. I am Dr. Leesha Ellis-Cox, and I am a board-certified child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist, a parenting expert, and a maternal wellness strategist. And I just feel so deeply about helping moms reclaim our identities that exist outside of motherhood, because we are more than just somebody's mommy. It's important, but it doesn't define all that we do. So what a wonderful opportunity to have such an important conversation with an amazing group of moms.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Okay. And then Tasha, you want to go
Hi,
next?
Yeah, sure. I'm Tosh. I'm not a doctor. I'm a photographer, full-time wedding and portrait photographer and blogger influencer based out of Seattle, Washington. I had my first daughter at 30. And then I had my second daughter at 36, right before the pandemic, and had my last baby 5 months ago today, actually, in January. And throughout this last 10 years of my life, I've built a really successful business. I'm teaching and speaking in the photography world. And I always felt like you couldn't have, I love to work. I like to work. I like my identity. And for so long, I was told that if I had children, that I'd have to give up my work. And so it took me a long time to have babies. And then it took me even longer to have more because I felt like I had to choose. And I'm a huge believer in you design the life that you want for yourself and you bring your kids along. And so I have 3 daughters and they've come along to everything. I have nursed from stages where I've spoken on. I've brought my kids on almost every photo shoot we've ever done. Yes. And I just believe in not the idea of balance. I think there's a flow. I think there are times where I'm a better mom and there are times where I'm a better business person, but all of it benefits them. And that's the goal. And so I feel so honored to be here with you guys and I'm excited to share today.
Oh, I love that.
Woo.
Amazing. Okay.
Okay.
Stepha.
I'm Stepha. My name is Stepha Lafond. I am a motherhood transition coach. And what that looks very differently depending on what mom I'm working with. But it's really, my work is also about helping moms reclaim their identity and really having the permission, giving themselves the permission to define life as they want it, not as some cookie cutter, not what their mama did, not what they think it should look like what works for you. And a lot of focus goes into your values and really unlearning systems, because I do believe like motherhood, like, yes, we're like, oh my God, now that I'm a mom, I feel this, I feel that. And what we don't realize a lot of times is the systems that have been ingrained into us, even if we don't know it. We're putting this expectation on ourselves to be perfect, to not go after life because you're ashamed that you had a baby out of wedlock and you don't think you can do it because it doesn't look like X, Y, and Z person. So I help moms really reconnect to that space. Like, what does it look like for you and how do you get there unapologetically?
Oh,
so I'm excited to be here with y'all today.
That was amazing.
So amazing, girl. And we love your energy, Stepha.
Yes.
Okay, so my first question, I guess we'll just kind of go in the order that we started in. I want to ask, when was that aha moment for you when you realized you lost yourself in motherhood, if you ever did? I know, Tasha, you were kind of saying like, you know.
You can, either way, it's fine.
Yeah, from the beginning. It's been my motto from the beginning. But when was that moment? Like I said, for me, it was kind of that event, the Momference, the first one where I saw women, Black women, some of my favorite influencers, bloggers, you know, people showing how they're doing this, how they're mothering and taking care of a household. Some of them, the whole house, you know, they're married and all, and being a good mother. So what was that moment for you guys? I'll start with Dr. Ellis-Cox.
Yeah, so I have 3 kids and they are 13, 10, and 6. And so that really resonated with me when I was picking all 3 of them up from daycare. So this was a few years ago. And they were all in daycare, which is expensive to have 3 kids in daycare, but that's another conversation. But anyway, so I was going to pick everybody up. So I go into each of their classrooms. So I go into the first classroom. Hey, Bailey's mom. Okay. I go to the next one. Hey, Evan's mom. Hey, and then Chloe's room. Hey, Chloe's mommy. And I'm like, you know, hold up. Actually, let's press pause. Like, I am Leesha, like a whole woman. I am not just Bailey, Evan, and Chloe's mommy. And don't get me wrong, raising my children, and I say this all the time, raising my children and staying married are 2 of the most important and hardest things that I will ever do. They're not the only thing that I'll ever do. And so my identity, my worth, my value, my purpose, none of those things are predicated on my title as mom. And so that was me saying, you know what? I want to make sure that I continue to take care of, nurture, love, grow, and evolve Leesha, the woman. And Leesha, the woman, when she's healthy and happy, everything works, right? We're better moms, we're better spouses or partners, we're better bosses. So I'm taking care of me.
Yes, I love that. That's so true. Like a lot of these kids, even, you know, friends of your children will be like, hey, Layla's mom. I'm like, so that's a good point. I'm going to start thinking about that now. Okay, for you, Tash, what was that aha moment?
Yeah, so I actually was raised in foster care and aged out of the system. So I didn't have like the traditional upbringing. So I really didn't know what it meant to be a mother. And so this journey for me has been about mothering, but also kind of mothering myself. So in 2017, I went into heart failure from a viral flu. And I spent 16 days in intensive care and I almost died. At the time, I only had 1 kid and she was 4 years old. And at the end of that whole situation, my doctors were like, your heart's never going to be strong enough to have any more babies. So this is it. And I had this moment where I was like, I had given so much to everyone else around me that I hadn't really even checked in with myself about what I wanted from my life. And I realized that as much as I love work, I also love being a mom. And so there was this moment where I chose motherhood, but I chose it in partnership with being a working mom. Like I wasn't like, I wanted more kids and it was really important to me. And that was a moment where I knew I wanted to be a mom more than ever when I found out that I was done at that time. But then I also took an assessment of just like where I wanted to be in life and who I wanted to be and what things made me happy and what things didn't. And I realized that part of being a good mom and part of being an amazing woman is showing my daughter and modeling for her what a life looks like for a woman who knows what she wants, who also loves to be a mom. And so I decided at that time that I was going to like live life on my terms, but I was also going to model like a healthy working mom. It's not, and so we'll have these conversations with Wisdom, and I won't take up too much more time, but where she'll be like, oh, you're always working. And I'm like, sis, you know that people go to work at 6 a.m. and they don't come home until 6 p.m. And I take you to school every day and I eat lunch with you and I can come to all your field trips and I can buy the snacks because I take this time during the day to work. And it's been even harder during the pandemic because she's always here. But what I feel is that she is seeing that she'll never have to choose whether she wants to be a mom or whether she wants to work or whether she can be a good wife or a good business person. Like she can do all of that because I'm setting that example. So I don't know if that quite answered the question, but it kind of came to me a little differently.
Girl, whether it answered or not, you dropped the gem. Okay?
Yes, I love that.
And I love that you spoke about filtering, you know, what makes you happy and what doesn't. And that's such a great place to start, because I even had to do that more recently with like, I just so much on my plate. And it's kind of like I'm an overdoer, but there were some things I was doing that I didn't like to do. And why am I doing it? It's like wasting my time. I could be spending that time with my kids, you know? So
I literally started outsourcing I'm like, I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I'm not doing it anymore.
Girl, just give it away. I was
even outsourcing. I hired someone to come just this last 2 weeks to come and play with my kids.
Girl,
that's a full day so that I could work. And I'm in the home. But like she can do all this stuff with them so that I can focus on making the coin
so they
to
get
do
that
the things
attention.
that I love. Right, exactly.
That attention that they need. And then for me, I'm going to come to you real quick, Stepha. I just wanted to add this. Like, I have a very cultural mother staying here with us who sees me doing all these things. And she's like, just stop and take care of your kids. And I'm like, Mommy, you had three jobs growing up. I didn't spend time with you ever. You raised me as a single parent, but you were never there. And I don't want that for my kids. You know, I want to be present. So I'm working to, now that I know better, I'm trying to do better, and let me do that. So I'm just saying that to say, like, I know I've even seen some names on here that look African, like in the African household, it's like, you don't do that. Like, what are you doing? You know, but for anyone struggling with that, like, do what you have to do to create a better future for your kids. You know, if that is the goal, keep on going. So what was that aha moment for you, Stepha?
For me, I would say there were several moments. When I think about identity, I definitely had that moment with my first. So my kids are 2 years apart, right? 7 and 5 right now. And I remember with my first, there was some point where she was still an infant. I literally looked in the mirror and was like, who is this? I was just like pale, like no makeup, just like you look tired because you're tired, right? When you have a small child. And I'm like, oh, damn, like literally don't recognize myself. And then it didn't really, like the identity point really didn't become strong for me until I had my second child. And y'all know who've been there, like if you have a toddler and then an infant, it's a whole different ball game. Like that second child will take you out. And I was also processing so much during that time where I had left the company that I had been with for over 10 years. So much of my identity was that. My grandmother had recently transitioned. So there was a lot of that grief. And I was like, well, what the hell? Like, how am I being mothered in this space? Because the people that I needed there weren't there. And who am I now at this phase with 2 small children who need so much from me? How am I going to make that time? And I ended up actually getting sick with what I now know as maternal depletion about 5 months after my son was born, because there was so much going on. And I wasn't even knowing better, I had great births. I always tell these stories. I had like amazing home births, like all this stuff. But the part about motherhood and taking care of yourself, like that shit is real. So I had to be like, full stop. We're gonna do more things for mom. Like, what do I need right now? And it always shifted. And then having my husband get on board with that, understanding that, hey, I'm feeling that way, because not for nothing, men, like they'll be like, okay, yeah, I see it's a little hard, but when I'm like, no, this shit is real. And we need more help. We need to pause. We need to change schedules. I'm gonna need time to just be away. Don't ask me where I'm at. I'll see you soon. That type of stuff. But really setting those boundaries and understanding that I had to put myself first before I could do anything else.
Yes, girl, that was amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. So I guess you already kind of touched on how you maintain your identity. Does anyone else want to chime in on that? How do you, or the systems that you have in place? Tash, you mentioned outsourcing, which is amazing. So Stepha or Dr. Ellis-Cox on systems or how you maintain your identity.
Yeah, I can add to, like, because I was like thinking what Tia was talking earlier, and I couldn't even agree with her more. With I'm big on meditation and working out. Like, there's just like little things like finding time. So meditation is one of them. And listen, I have pictures of myself, like a kid on the boob, but my eyes closed. Like my husband took the picture because I'm like, make the time. It could be 3 minutes. Sometimes we think, oh, it has to be 20 minutes, and I don't have time. And no, make the time. Start with 3 minutes. You don't need a whole hour workout. You don't even need a 30-minute workout. What can you do in 5 minutes?
Yeah.
And then build yourself up. Because I know I was at the space sometimes where I'm like, oh, but because I did love working out before having my kids. And I'm like, oh, I used to go hard and I used to do this. It's okay if you can't do that now. There are different stages and understanding. Like my work is just like, what season are you in? What is your capacity? It doesn't mean that you're never going to be able to do those things that you love, but it's just going to look a little different. And how do you give yourself that grace and that space to know that it's different, but know that you could still take that time? Because at the end of the day, it's all about taking care of you and pouring into your cup.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good.
Yes.
So I came up with this concept I call Dr. Leesha's hierarchy of radical self-care, because I think the term self-care gets thrown around so loosely, and it's so much more than like girls' night out, which is important, or a spa day, bubble bath. All of those things are important. But the way that I think about it is you've got layers to this whole self-care pyramid. So the first is like the basics. Get some sleep. Okay. Now, I know it's not always easy with the little ones, but you need to go to bed.
Yeah. Yes.
You need to go to bed. But it's also being in an environment that is safe and secure, emotionally safe, but also physically safe and secure. So that's like the base layer of the pyramid. The second is meaningful connections. This is what this beautiful community is all about. Like we need women, moms who will hold us up, lift us up, encourage, nurture, push, help us grow and evolve.
Yes.
And then the next layer is about financial fidelity. We need to be smart with our money. We're about leaving a legacy and creating generational wealth. So tell your dollars where to go. Okay. We need to pay our bills. We need to save. We need to invest, and we need to invest in our dreams. Okay? The next is wholeness and wellness. So as Stepha had already said, and you, Dr. Marie, were also talking about just exercise, like 150 minutes of exercise a week, like get it in, get moving. It doesn't have to be like, push and iron and all, but like get your body moving. And it's also about, I call it eating the rainbow. And I think Tia was talking about that too, like eating nutrient-rich foods that help ward off depression, decrease inflammation, help with anxiety. So I think we need to be intentional about what we put in our mouth. It affects our whole body and our brain. And then at the top is about pursuit of purpose, but you can't get to any of that unless you start. Exactly. So when we are able to make sure that we have all of those things, we're sleeping, we're exercising, we're pouring into ourselves, we're having good, healthy coping skills, that's when we can pursue our purpose that, again, exists outside of motherhood. But it is so beautiful. Our babies get to see mommy doing the on thing. Like Tash,
in a healthy way.
In a healthy way. And so, because I'm good to tell babies like, hey, listen, mommy had a rough day. Mommy's going to take a time out. We can sit here, we can meditate, we can pray and talk to God. We can do whatever we need to do, but mommy's going to take this break. And if you want to join me because you had a tough day too, that's fine. But we have to model these things for our children because again, when mommy's winning, we all win.
Everybody wins. The whole house.
That's
so
great. One thing go ahead, Tash. Go.
One of the things that I started doing was scheduling my time. Like I schedule my workouts, I schedule my vacations with my sister, I schedule the things that I need so that I know when it's coming and I can look forward to it. But also I schedule everything else for everyone else. So why would I not put aside time for myself? And so I think that that's one way to make sure that you are working out, or one way to make sure that you are getting in the nutrients and things that you need. And the other thing I saw, someone said that it's hard when you have babies to nap. And I'm in the ghetto right now. I have an 8-year-old that doesn't stop talking. I have a 2-year-old and I have a 5-month-old. And it is hard, these 2 under 2s. But I lean into them because I know I'm going to get the work done. Moms are going to do what it takes to get the work done. So I'm just like, this moment right here, this nap time, this whatever is happening is more important. I know I'm going to find the time or the adrenaline or the capacity to work. And that's the one thing that I have always known to be true about moms. We get it done. We find a way. And so I just feel like lay down with your baby and nap, or play with them or whatever, because you will get the other stuff done because you have to. Yeah. And that's what we do.
Yes. So I love that. Stepha, you wanted to say something?
I'm just laughing at all the comments about the ghetto because it's so
funny.
Because I've been there. What I wanted to say, particularly about the pyramid, which I love, Dr. Leesha, is because I saw some comments about the sleep and how to do with the baby. And that's where understanding again that the seasons are going to look different, right? What you're going to be able to do when you're in the ghetto, when the babies are under 2 or 3, and it's not going to be able to be what you're going to do when they're 8 and above. And that's okay, but don't be defeated by it, and find ways. Those are the times where maybe you lean into your community more if you have things to do, like, hey, can you help support me in that? You can call those people in, because I'm going to tell you right now, one of the questions I get a lot is like, well, when does it get better? Especially for moms who have younger children, they just look at you like, when gonna get better? And I'm like, well, little by little, month by month. And for me, I remember it wasn't until my son was 2.5 where I really felt like a sense of vibrancy come back, right? Because there were days I was walking around like a zombie. He nursed for so long. Oh my God, he nursed for so long and would night nurse at 2 years old and 2.5 years old. So it's like, it wasn't until some of those things change, but don't feel defeated because you may see other people doing it. And you're like, well, when do I start feeling like myself? Just give yourself permission to sleep, to take care of those things, to eat the good food, to outsource stuff. Don't be superwoman. I don't want to be super mom. I don't want to be the model mom. I want to be a mediocre ass mom. Okay. Like that is okay sometimes.
Yes, I agree. I think it's so, I'll just give a quick story of myself too. Like my friends came to visit. I live in Houston. They live in DC. They came to visit, 3 of them. And, they came and it's almost like they had to have an intervention for me because I'm usually not that friend, but they came and they saw that I was like really a lot thinner than I usually am. I'm showing up online and things are growing and going for me, but I'm always on the go. I'm barely sleeping. Since I came to Texas, I hadn't had a checkup with a doctor. I was catering to everybody and everything and not doing anything for myself. I wasn't taking my vitamins. So sometimes being around your friends or people who love you, people who care about you, because I know a lot of moms always on the go with work, with the kids, sometimes they, that can help you remember who you are, who you used to be, who you have told them that you wanted to be, and they see
always, not sometimes, always
see the things that you don't see. So sometimes it's really good. I know we're all so busy, but hang around your friends, your community, let them pour into you, let them see you and tell you if you're being who you said you wanted to be. Sometimes that it's just that one thing that can kind of catalyze the whole getting to the doctor, eating healthy, because sometimes you don't know. So like that pyramid that you mentioned, Dr. Ellis Cox, where can we see that? Because after this, I don't want people to forget all the things that you mentioned. And it sounds good. We all know it, but some of us, we just can't get to it. So how do we find that pyramid? Like, where do we get that?
Well, I created it. I'll put it on my IG page at Dr. Leesha.
Okay.
That I could share. And I don't know how to put it. I'm not sure how to share it in the chat. Okay. But one thing I do want to say, I have been rethinking the super mom, superwoman thing, because what I really think is if you actually look at superheroes, like the archetype, Like the truth is, they all had drama. They all had bad things happen, right? None of them were perfect. They had bad beginnings. Like think about Storm. Like she was an orphan. Like her parents got killed and she was an orphan. She got hooked up with some rough people and then she gets with, you know, the X-Men. Or like Superman, same thing. Like they were flawed. They had imperfect past. They had trauma and difficulties. But that didn't keep them from being a superhero, from being amazing. And they have a team. None of us are doing this alone. Superheroes don't do it alone. So I'm like, my thing is like, girl, put that cape back on. Like, put the S on your chest, do what you need to do, because Superwoman does not mean, Supermom does not mean we're doing it all on our own and doing it by ourselves. That's not what that means. So I've rebranded it, refashioned it, and that's how because I'm a bad chick. So that's how I like to think of it.
That's amazing. We have a question here from Marissa. She asks, if we're so far away from ourselves, what are ways to come back to ourselves? Exercises that we can do or tips that you have? And we touched on this a little bit. So that pyramid would be a great way. And then the outsourcing, of course, is great. And then Stepha, you offer these type of services, right?
Yeah, I do. And one of the things that I can say to you is definitely getting clear, because when it comes to identity, particularly as moms, is that a lot of times we didn't really know who we were before becoming moms. Motherhood, in a way, busts you wide open because it,
in many ways,
see the cracks in the things that maybe you were performing somebody, or maybe you were that person because the circumstances around you required you to be that person, and now you are being reborn. So who, and it begs to ask, so who are you? So I think what I always tell people was just like, all right, tell me a little bit more about right before you had kids. What was happening 2 years ago? What was happening 5 years ago, right? And what is it that you liked about that? So having you connect with your values, once you understand the values that were present and that were being honored, you can identify where those values aren't being honored in your current life and how you can start bringing them in. What are the little things that you can do? What are the big things that you can do? What do you need? And how you can start incorporating that on your journey to self. And again, knowing that it's a journey, but you can start by inquiring, because you may think, oh, I used to go out with my friends. I used to have more autonomy, etc. And then you go do that, and you're like, well, this don't even hit like it used to hit.
Yeah, or I'm tired.
So it's not, a lot of
it's giving what it used to give.
It's not giving what it used to give, right? So it may not be the things, but it may be the feeling. What feeling are you searching for? And your values will always pinpoint that. And I'm always happy to talk about that.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, one more question before we get kicked out. This is so good. I'm sure we could talk about this like forever. And we do online, right? That's what our platforms are about. This last question, anonymous question. How do you find yourself after having a baby? Like, what if you just don't have hobbies? I hear that a lot. Or anything that you like. How do you find that thing and navigate parenthood? I just want to make sure. We kind of touched on it a little bit, but I will say, if you feel like you don't have a hobby, I would write down a list of things that you love, like things that just absolutely bring you joy, make you happy, brighten up your day, and you can start there. If it's flowers, what can you do around flowers? Maybe you need to plant things. If it's seeing other people happy, where can you go where you see people happy? Maybe it's photography, like what Tash does. I know when people are taking pictures, sometimes they're really excited. How can you first just write down what you love, what brings you joy, what makes your day, and then how can you do things within that specific thing that brings you joy? Where can you find space in it? Anybody else?
I agree with that. I think brain dumping is so powerful. Like, I think writing down everything that makes you happy. And someone had said, how do you know like your limits or whatever? And I just wrote down everything I loved and everything I despised and didn't want to do anymore. And then I grouped them together and was like, okay, this is going to this thing and this is going here, or I need more of this in my life, or I need to do more of this. So I think that's a really great place to start, especially if you don't have like the finances to go and hire someone like Stepha to get you together, you know?
No, absolutely. I think, again, those are all things, and it doesn't have to be a hobby, right? Like, and it doesn't have to be, what do I need right now? Like, what brought me joy when I was 7, when I was 17? whatever, right? Connecting those little pieces and allowing yourself talk to your friends.
Yeah.
If you have close friends, like, getting the idea of like, well, you know, let them know that you're feeling that way, because sometimes is it an identity, or is it that you're depressed?
Yeah.
Is it that you're having some kind of PMAD disorder? So really talk to your friends, and don't be shy to go talk to a doctor, go seek out therapy and get a few sessions to see, you know, right, Alicia? Like, to see what it is that you're feeling like. I don't have any hobbies. You got something. Maybe you don't call it a hobby, but you got something.
Something. So, yes.
How do we bring that back in?
Yes, I agree. Wow. Well, thank you, ladies. This has been such a great discussion. Like I said, we could talk about this all day. Before we leave and head over to the next discussion, where can we find you, Dr. Ellis Cox?
I'm on IG at Dr. Leesha, and I have a Facebook mommy group, Motherhood Unapologetically.
Oh, I love that. And then for Tash, where can we find you? No,
I'm on Instagram as It's Tash Haynes.
Okay. We'll find you on there. And then Stepha, your handle is right there. So
yeah, my Instagram is Mama Slay Life.
Yes. And then I am at RIE_defined. And I really just want to help moms redefine style, life, just everything. Just be great. Thank you guys so much for taking part in this discussion. And
thank y'all.
Online. Have fun for everybody who's at the Momference in person. We're hating on you a little bit.
Everybody, see y'all later.
Have a great time. Bye.
Bye, ladies.
That went so fast.
I know.